It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome in to Talkback on a Thursday morning. I'm Al Quartermont with Trish Lala, and Stephen Maxwell is with us again today as we ease him on into the seat. I just used two prepositions there, which is grammatically incorrect.
That's okay.
We ease him into the seat.
He taught you that too, right?
He did. All the bad grammars.
All the bad grammars.
Anyways.
Wow. So
it's going to be such a great dynamic now because, you know, the teacher becomes I'm just so excited to see how this works now.
I don't know if you remember Luke Edwards and Abby Renderer. They used to work at KLB around 2015, 16, 17.
The names are familiar.
Yeah. Anyway, They're married now. They live in Highland, Illinois.
Yeah.
Abby texted me yesterday. She said, Luke and I are wondering, is Steven your boss now?
I know. That's
because your title is news content. What is it?
Director. News and content director.
He pretty much is your boss now, Al.
So I said, well, not really. Our general manager is kind of our boss for both of us.
But I might be a wrong hire. You never know.
Yeah,
you are.
I kind of think he is.
You're full-time. So.
That's why I was asking who's going to sit on which side of the table here, you know? Like, who's going to be in the driver's seat over there? You know, I like sitting over here in the side. I call it the sidekick chair.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's kind of why I'm here. I was just the sidekick. I let Al pull all the heavy lifting over there.
I'm gonna let Al pilot the show for sure.
Pilot the show.
All right, I'm good with that.
You heard the word let.
I did because you're basically his boss.
Yes. I thought that was hilarious.
Well,
you're not the boss of me.
Both of you today. Because, again, it's like my turn to sign off again. I feel like our listeners are going to be like, yeah, whatever. You've done this before.
Well, yeah, that's true. But
you did, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
We hosted some shows back in the day.
There was a time there that, I had a little political campaign. So I signed off doing the show. That was when I was full time. Yeah, every day. It was just Al and I. Mm-hmm. And then I came back and we became this rotating thing of how many of us. Because all of our lives changed and schedules changed, and so
we're making Talkback stable again.
We are making it, which I think
I'm sure we'll see you again.
That is a great thing, though, making it stable again and having you here every day, driving the ship, even if you are driving the board over there, Al. Basically,
I'll be a full-time passenger princess.
Steven knows I'm too much of a control freak.
It is kind of fun doing all the stuff over there.
It is fun, and here's the thing, like. Some mornings you have to get here and prepare and have things ready to go before the show actually starts. Just saying. I'm not pointing out anyone or anything.
He gets a good 30 seconds.
I'm pacing myself, sorry. Now, here's the key, though. What? I'm driving in. I'm listening to CBS. I'm listening to Louisiana Radio Network News. And what happens once you get in the studio? Everyone's talking, and I can't hear the sports. But
we're listening to it in here. We hear everything that's going on.
Sure, you are.
That is a good point. Every second of the day that I have, I'm using to try and catch up on the news. So
I know.
It's important.
You're so busy. Like, what did you do, 3 or 4 stories yesterday?
Yeah, I did,
Some great stories, too.
Yeah. I was at BJ's at 9 o'clock last night.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was a good story. I feel... The community came out to support that Corbin Price who was attacked.
Yeah.
And
awful.
They couldn't keep up with the pizzas. It was.
Oh wow.
But great what some places like BJ's are doing.
It is. Miss Norma Jean Baker is super sweet. She runs the place over there. Kind of came up with the fundraiser because her son worked with the father of Corbin. And she's like, hey, he says, hey, what can we do? She's like, okay, we'll give 20% of our proceeds to his medical expenses. So I think it was a great turnout. Saw a couple of old friends out there, too, so it was pretty cool. Oh, yeah.
I'm sure everybody was excited to see you back.
I guess. Yeah, like, oh, he's back.
So. See, these are the great things about our community, and that's the stuff I've loved to talk about, is look how our community comes out and supports each other.
And I had her on the little story I did. There was this one lady who worked there 20 years ago, saw how packed it was, and she came over there to help in the kitchen. So it was stuff like
incredible.
That, you know?
That's the kind of stories you want to see, too.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it.
That's great. Did you have any pizza?
I did. Got me a pepperoni. But when I get home, I do something really weird. I put honey on it.
Oh, yeah.
It's good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Regular honey or hot honey?
I wish I had hot honey.
Yeah.
Just regular, boring honey, but put some pineapple on there too. It's top notch.
Yeah.
That's what I put in my coffee every morning. I use honey.
Really?
Yeah.
Never done
I get
that.
local honey and use that in my coffee every morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When I get BJ's, I usually get the Full House, but without onions, because I don't like onions. But man,
Or any of it. Full House is all meat, right?
No, it's got all the vegetables
It's got
too.
mushrooms and green peppers too. So
I want to say I could not imagine seeing Al eat a vegetable. I don't know if you know that about him. If it's green and it grew.
yeah, I like cucumbers.
That's just like my dad.
I like green beans, but occasional salad.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's good. BJ's is
lovers
top-notch
only,
pizza.
huh? It
Ironically,
is
my
top-notch pizza.
favorite salad was the side salad at Logan's because they would put a ton of blue cheese dressing on it.
He liked the
Can't get
wedge
that anymore,
salad.
can you?
Wedge salad, you know
Yeah.
that's my go-to.
I know everything. I know this is going to sound weird. I know Al's eating habits because we would eat out every day.
That's true. When we were in college, when Steve was in college, I mean,
We
I
had
felt
nothing better to do, and
wow. Every night, Steve was just hanging out in the journalism lab, and then he'd come to my office about 6 o'clock. Food?
Food?
Nice.
Are we getting food
IHOP.
tonight?
It was mostly IHOP.
That's true.
90% of the time.
We went everywhere, though, if you really think about it.
Huddle House.
Huddle House.
Is that still
the
open?
one in Pineville when it was open. No, it's
it's a
Nova.
Yeah.
It was called.
Nova.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some great folks run it. It's
Yep.
it's
Like
a
a
little more
breakfast
It's
joint.
now a
Yeah.
local run. Yeah, local owned.
A little more
local
That's
run.
awesome.
little more gourmet type breakfast, but
Yeah.
really good stuff.
I'll be going there.
So, yeah.
Maybe I can bring my camera. That'd be cool.
Yep. And the owners, really awesome people. Savannah and her husband. I can't remember her husband's name, but she's super friendly. So.
You got to take that. You're going to take that camera with you everywhere
Yeah.
you go.
Oh, it's awesome too.
Everything becomes
Yeah.
a story.
That thing is awesome.
Yeah.
You would have loved it for back in the day.
Back in
Oh,
the
I
day.
know. I know. So,
And I know no one cares about this. We got a lot of important stuff to talk about, but the camera, I could shoot it. It looks high quality, and it connects to my phone, so I drop all the clips on my phone and can edit it right there on
Wow.
my phone.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I know, because I was actually watching and I was trying to figure out, because, having done a number of these with real estate too, it's like, okay, how are you holding the camera, or what is holding the camera? Because
I have a
look like-
tripod that can serve as like a selfie stick
There
too.
you go.
So I got the
There
whole
you go.
mobile
You
unit
got the
going.
whole mobile unit.
Got the wireless
One man
microphone.
show.
Wireless
I know.
microphone.
I've seen his microphone right there.
It's a nice microphone, DJI. So DJI is the company that makes the drones.
Okay. Oh.
Yep.
yeah.
Watch the future of cinema broadcasting here. It's
Yep.
about to take off.
We're trying to bring stories that may not make it otherwise. So that's our goal.
I love it. So make sure you guys are following Steven on Facebook and also on Cinema Broadcasting, our Facebook page, and we share a lot of it to KSYL as well. All right, we got some phone calls coming in here on the BOM Bank Talk Line. Let's jump on those. Good morning. You are on Talkback.
Yeah, you were talking about green beans.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, anyway, we had a mixed breed dog that got kind of pudgy, and the vet said, well,
Yeah.
feed him cans of green beans.
Yeah.
And
Really?
the dog loved the green beans, and basically there's not much caloric value to green beans, and so he was filled up and happy.
Well, the way I do it, you just slob some butter on there and
Then
get
you
those
got
calories
caloric
up, some
value.
Bacon
bacon.
grease.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't have been good for the dog.
Right.
I think you would have liked it better, though.
I'll eat anything.
Back in those days, sometimes you could get 5 cans of beans for $1 at Kroger. They always wondered why we had 10 cans of beans.
Was it Dave Ramsey? Beans and rice. Beans and
Right.
rice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was talking about the other kind of beans.
Yeah, the gassy beans.
Pinto beans,
Yeah.
which I love actually.
Ugh.
So you don't like pinto
I'm
beans?
not a bean eater. No.
Really?
No. I like vegetables, but I'm not a bean eater.
Okay.
My dog is weird. We could drop any food on the floor. He won't touch it.
Same with ours.
I-
Well, because we've never fed ours people food. So
Oh.
he doesn't know that people food is anything. So yeah, you could have a plate of food on the floor and he's
By the
not
way,
gonna
Trish
touch
I've
it.
just never seen a dog do
Trish
that.
has a dog that's massive. I came to her office.
It's a mastiff?
No, just massive.
Massive. He's huge.
He is.
Does he need a green bean diet?
No, he's just a bit. He's an Akita.
Oh, okay.
So he's very big. But Al came into the office yesterday and got to meet him, and yeah,
Oh,
he
wow.
likes to greet people.
What's an Akita? Is it like a husky?
It's almost like if you took a husky and a German shepherd, but they are a Japanese breed. They were used for hunting bears.
Oh, wow.
Originally. Yeah.
I could see that.
He actually has webbed feet, too, even though he doesn't like to swim in the water. But, yeah.
Wow.
And his name is Bear. Yeah.
All right, caller, one last thing. We were trying to get in there.
Yeah, once upon a time, I was a food service officer. And at the base where I was located, it was a B-52 KC-135 alert base. And the crews had to be on alert, I think, for several days in a row. And so they didn't basically get much exercise. So they were fussing about getting kind of pudgy. So they wanted salads. Well, the problem was the salads that they wanted were the kind of salads that make you pudgy.
What kind of salads make you pudgy? I'm just asking.
Ones that have ham and eggs and cheese and all kinds of dressings.
Smothered in ranch dressing. Yeah.
As opposed to just basically green lettuce and things like that.
Yeah.
I like a good fruit salad with the sugar.
Oh.
And with that creamy stuff they put in there.
It's true.
Yeah, that'll make you pudgy.
I know it.
Steven used to be pudgy, but he's not anymore.
I kind of go back and forth.
College Stephen Maxwell was not what he looks like now. Let me put it that way.
I had a year and a half of glorious eating.
I realize that you guys got to go, but if I understand correctly, Mr. Maxwell is graduated from Fairview.
I did. Yeah. I'm surprised you know what that is.
Well, since it's near Pitkin.
Oh, you're a Pitkinite?
My wife is.
What's her name? Is it a Thompson?
No, it wasn't a Thompson. Her father came from Anacoco, so he was out of that group of people.
Okay. Yeah, I know a bunch of Pitcanites, for sure. That's pretty cool.
Well, did you get into any of the fist fights at the basketball game?
No, but there was one time where we played them in baseball, and then we beat them. Then after the game, they took a hammer to my car.
Oh.
No.
At Strother's gas station.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's no man's land.
You just got to survive.
Yeah, well, that literally was no man's land.
Fairview's worse.
So catch you
There
later.
you go. All right, thanks so much for the call. We're going to take a break. More coming up.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A Boeing 787 Dreamliner jet operated by Air India that was bound for London's Gatwick Airport crashed shortly after taking off from northwest India in what stands to be the worst accident involving the U.S. plane maker's most advanced wide-body airliner. Video footage shared on social media showed a giant plume of smoke engulfing the crash site with no reports of survivors. Stock futures are lower this morning after President Donald Trump said he would set unilateral tariff rates within a couple of weeks. The latest tariff threat came a day after Chinese and U.S. officials struck a positive tone following their talks to dial down tensions. Mattel will be using artificial intelligence to design and, in some cases, power toys. The maker of Barbie dolls and Hot Wheels cars has signed a deal with OpenAI to use its AI tools. The technology could ultimately result in the creation of digital assistants based on Mattel characters. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
Now back to Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL.
All right, we are back here on Talkback on this Thursday morning. Al Quartermont, Trish Lala, Stephen Maxwell. He just ran out to get some coffee, so he'll be back.
I told him he's going to have to start doing what I do. You use the one at home that has the automatic starter on it.
Uh-huh.
So that when you wake up early in the morning for the show, your coffee's already ready to go.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yep, that's how I start my day every day.
Huh. There you go. I'm not really a coffee drinker. I tried it for a little while, and I got to where I was okay with it, but I don't know.
I love a good cup of coffee.
I was having some other health issues, so I just kind of cut it out.
Yeah.
For the time being, got out of the habit, and so now I'm not doing it. So I start my morning with a protein shake. So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Better for you than the coffee.
Yes. 318-442-8255 is our phone number here on Talkback. We have a lot of things to talk about coming up at 8:40 this morning. U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy will be calling in. His folks make him available to us quite a bit, so we'll take that opportunity, despite some of the comments we got on our Facebook page when we posted he's going to be on the show. So.
I love our listeners and all their comments.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's just a few other things happening out there that we get to talk about today, too.
All right. Well, we got the phones lit up, so they're lit. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hey, a quick question. What's going on with KALB and the voiceover on some of the programs?
I have no idea.
I don't know, but and I didn't try to watch last night, but the other night I tried to watch our local news, and it was New York news that was on in the time slot of our local news. So I don't know.
Could be a technical issue, and they have to fill it with programming. That happens.
No. What I'm talking about, okay, one of my favorite shows is AGT because I love some of the things that people do there. So the other night I was watching it, and I can't give you an exact, but let's just say a voice would come on there, and it would say something like, he just looked at her, and she looked back. And then the show would go on a little bit, and then, so in other words, what I'm saying, it was really crazy. I thought it was my TV. So I checked my remote and everything, and I said, something really crazy going on. So anyway, interaction with a friend. So a friend called me because I was telling them about that. So the friend called me last night. I got home from church, and there was a message on the phone, and I called. And she said, on KALB, on some of the series shows like Chicago Fire or whatever, I don't watch all that stuff. Anyway, she said, it's doing the same thing. I said, you got to be kidding me. So I went and got my remote, and I flipped it over on KALB, and it was doing the same thing. So nobody else... It can't be just my TV and her TV.
It sounds like that kind of captioning they have for the blind that tells you what's going on because they can't see it.
Oh.
You know?
Well, but it's not closed cap. No, but it's not the whole. Yeah, well, maybe you're right. But why would that be on my TV and on their TV? You don't. Yeah. Well, maybe some of the other maybe somebody else is seeing the same thing. It's really kind of weird. But it's not on your closed caption button because I tried that. And then when I flipped to another station, it wasn't doing it at all.
I might have missed this. What's your provider? Are you using cable? Are you using antenna?
Yeah, just the antenna.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So I don't know. And it was only KALB that was doing it. Now I don't watch those series shows like all that stuff I'm talking about. I don't know.
Just America's Got Talent.
Yeah, well, just that. I mean, when you get 80 years old, there's not a whole lot that's real interesting, and all the other things are just blood and guts anyway. So, anyway, so nobody else has said anything about it.
Not that we know of. I haven't watched in a while, so I haven't heard or seen anything. So,
okay.
Have you tried calling them? Sometimes they'll answer.
No. I was just curious what was going on, and I told this person that maybe I could find out. But like I said, the TV might be showing a person walking into a room or something, and this voice comes on there and says, now Joe's walking into the room to see if he can find something or whatever, and you're going like, what the heck?
That is weird.
It's weird. Anyway, well, maybe somebody else has heard of it too, but anyway, take care. God bless. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Appreciate it. One of our listeners wrote in to say Cujo wasn't a Kia dog.
Oh. I knew something was up there.
I do remember Cujo way back in the days. Yeah.
Your dog is very docile, though. He's nice.
Well, not if he doesn't know you.
Well,
like, he knew you were okay.
I was scared at first.
You have not heard his bark.
Oh.
Yeah.
Worse than his bite?
Bear has a dark side that you just don't know about.
All right, another call coming in. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Hey, I have no answer to that guy, but it is 2025, so anything can happen.
That is true. There's a lot of wild stuff going on right now. So
we are living in the twilight zone. Maybe we all took the wrong pill, like in the Matrix.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. What was that about the dog? I didn't tune in. I didn't catch that.
We were talking. Well, one of our callers mentioned that he would feed his dog green beans for it to lose weight.
It's a good diet for dogs. Yeah, I did not know that. Yeah.
And we were talking about Trish's dog, who's giant.
Bear needs to lose weight. I can put him on a green bean diet. I did not know that.
How much does Bear weigh?
Oh, wow.
He's got to be like 150 pounds.
Not quite that much. But.
Oh, really? He's big.
You go broke feeding a 150-pound dog.
Yeah,
what do you feed that dog? Like raw meat?
Somebody just corrected our other listener. And see, I thought this was right. I thought Cujo was a St. Bernard.
Oh.
Really?
I thought he was, but yeah.
I must be remembering Cujo differently.
Maybe our two listeners both, I don't know. I have to Google it.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Yeah.
On to important news.
Dog.
On to important news.
What do you feed Bear, by the way?
Dog food?
Oh. I mean, he looks like he'd eat a side of beef every day.
She hunts a deer every day. And
Yeah.
He'd probably go and take a
Actually,
deer.
this morning I had to take my mom to the airport. I was telling you that off the air. She was on, the early flight out of AEX. So I was up at 4 a.m, taking her over to the airport. Coming back down Versailles, there was a whole herd of deer right there at 4 something in the morning on the side of Versailles. I see them a lot of times out in Woodward. We've got a whole herd of deer out there along with the wild horses.
Yeah.
You have to pay attention. You never know what you're going to see in the morning. But yeah, this was right there off of Versailles by the new doctor's office.
You might want to be careful out there, too.
I know.
They'll jump in front of you.
Yep, they will.
Yes. All right. Thank you for the call this morning. Let's go to another one. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
So I hate to interrupt the TV repair hour, and I do know what a 100-pound dog eats.
What's that?
Whatever he wants.
Whatever he wants.
So
He puts butter in his green
things.
beans.
Right. I've learned a few things in the past couple of weeks, and I wanted to share with you if you got a moment.
Where have you been, by the way? You haven't been on in like 3 weeks.
I have been studying to learn new things, and I wanted to share them with you.
All right. I'm waiting.
So interdicting illegal shipping in international waters while that person is trying to smuggle goods into a war zone is not apprehending pirates. It is kidnapping. I didn't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
All right. Second of all, if you beat a curve with a shop hammer and get the large chunks and throw it at the federal law enforcement, that is peaceful protest. Did you know that?
As well as launching fireworks at them.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And
Well,
burning automated cars.
Well, those Waymos are possessed by the devil, so they probably need to be burned.
They took out a lot of Waymos for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean it's a ill wind that doesn't blow some good on somebody. So if they can get rid of Waymos, I'm for it. So I've also learned that jaywalking and entering the country illegal or overstaying the visa is exactly the same violation of the law. I learned that. So those are some things that I've learned in the past few weeks. And you see how I wasted my time.
I saw a video this morning that they showed where a guy threw a bottle at a police officer, and then he turned around and started walking, and this guy comes out of nowhere and spears him like Bill Goldberg used to do in wrestling, like just some civilian. I was like, good for him. So,
well, did you see the video of the car driving through the protest?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I learned the newscasters, and maybe your class should learn this. The newscaster says that a car drove through the crowd, not a driver. A car drove.
They perfected that. Remember that?
Maybe it was a Waymo, yeah.
Remember that happened in Wisconsin at the Christmas parade?
Yes.
And the guy drove through. They kept saying a car drove through.
A car drove through, not the person behind the wheel. Yeah.
I think that ends up being the common way of saying it. Like, a car just plowed through a crowd.
Depends on the narrative, right?
It's not technically right, but
depends on the narrative.
Well, maybe commonality is the problem these days.
Could be. So, all right. Well, I'm glad you've been spending your time wisely.
Good luck. Good luck with your TV repair hour.
Thank you.
I hope that goes well. And good luck with the dog diet. I prefer to get out of stay in between a dog and stay out of the way between a dog and his food bowl. Don't get in between there.
That is so true. So good advice.
All right, good luck.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Speaking of driving through crowds, this is what Ron DeSantis said yesterday about Floridians if there are protesters in the street.
And we also have a policy that if you're driving on one of those streets and a mob comes and surrounds your vehicle and threatens you, you have a right to flee for your safety. And so if you drive off and you hit one of these people, that's their fault for impinging on you. You don't have to sit there and just be a sitting duck and let the mob grab you out of your car and drag you through the streets. You have a right to defend yourself in Florida.
So there you go. Good to know.
Boom.
All right, we need to take a break.
KSYL. Word's out. Chef John is at it again this Father's Day. Dad eats free at Quibido's Cajun Cafe in Pineville. We're celebrating Dad with a special menu just for him and the family. Choose from stuffed catfish, tender prime sliced beef, juicy stuffed pork loin, or blackened chicken pasta. It's dine-in only from 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. and tables will fill fast, so plan to come early. Dad dines free when he's joined by his family. So whether you call him Dad, Papa, or Papi, bring him to Quibido's Cajun Cafe in Pineville.
Hello, I'm Dr. Noah Miller. I'm the new guy at the clinics. I'm a family medicine physician from Vidrine, Louisiana, and I'm now accepting new patients. Call today for an appointment. The clinics offers a wide range of services, including primary care, family and chronic care, urgent and acute care, on-site lab and x-ray as well. Same-day appointments are available, and we accept most insurance and Medicare. Experience exceptional care at the clinics. 1587 North Bolton. Call 445-9823 or reach us online at theclinics.us. Looking forward to seeing you at the clinics.
So, June has finally arrived, and you don't have to have a thermometer to tell it's hot outside. Keep your home comfortable all year long with Southern Air. Now through the end of June, get a comprehensive AC tune-up for only $69 per system. Book your appointment by the 30th to lock in this special offer. Don't wait until your cooling system fails on the hottest day of the year. Act now, let us bear it. Visit southernairnow.com or call 318-777-5555.
The world is filled with odd museums. There's the one in Kansas dedicated to the Devil's Rope, otherwise known as barbed wire. In Croatia and Thailand, a museum of broken relationships is filled with memories of failed loves, from the hairdryer she left behind to a lover's belly button lint. Really. Then there's the Mosquito Museum in San Augustine, Florida. From America's #1 travel radio show, this is your Arm World Travel Minute. I'm Rudy Maxa. Designed by engineers who worked on exhibits for Disney World and Universal Studios, the Disease Vector Education Center is more interesting than the name suggests. Just ask the kids who love the blown-up photos of mosquitoes and who get to feed the gambusia, the fish that eat mosquito larvae. Kids can even climb around a mosquito-themed playground with its giant versions of that annoying bug's breeding spots, like a water barrel atop a stack of tires. But this isn't just a kids' museum. Adults are reminded that mosquitoes are the #1 insect when it comes to killing humans, and they can birth in just a teaspoon of water. Mosquitoes are why air conditioning was invented. All kinds of pests await your close inspection. More travel info at armworldtravel.com.
Talkback 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL.
All right, we are back on Talkback here on this Thursday. Al, Trish, and Steven with you. Trish, remember the book When We Were Kids? That was then, this is now?
Yeah.
I think it was written by the same author that did The Outsiders, if I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so for Governor Landry,
yep.
That was then, this is now. So let's go back to April 16th. Insurance Committee hearing. They were considering a bill, HB 576 by Robbie Carter. Ironically, that was the bill that was folded into an amendment in the Senate. That's the one that gives supposedly the insurance commissioner more control over setting prices if they feel the insurance companies are too high. But a bad bill that the insurance industry doesn't like, that really the only trial lawyers seem to like. But speaking of which, yesterday, a bill came to the governor's desk. Senate Bill 111 was sponsored by Senator Alan Seabaugh, District 31, which, by the way, part of that touches Rapides Parish. And it had sought to reform the claims processing system for insurance companies by clarifying and limiting the conditions under which insurers can be held liable for bad faith in failing to settle claims. Bill passed the Senate 2613, passed the House 5644, and Governor Landry vetoed it. This was Governor Landry back on April 16th our local state representative, Mike Johnson, posing the question to him. Yep, hang on a second.
And since you're under oath, and since I have this rare opportunity, if these bills come to your desk, Glorioso's transparency bill, Gallet prescriptive period on wrongful death, Chenevere on modified comparative, DeWitt on no pay, no play, Chance Henry on notification, and Mellarine on evidence. If we get that to your desk, will you sign it?
Yeah, look, y'all, whatever y'all send on my desk, I'm going to sign.
Okay. So that's what he said then.
That's what he said then.
Now, maybe a way to kind of worm out of that is to say, well, you're only talking about those bills.
But
right?
His words were,
whatever you
send to my desk, I will sign. You know, I follow the Louisiana Motor Transport Association a lot. And my good friend Renee that runs that down there. And because this is such a big issue for our truckers here in our state, all of these insurance things are such a huge issue. And I mean, I like what they put. A veto is a choice. And he chose to break his promise to the people of Louisiana. Actions speak louder than words. So, you know, unfortunately, he's on record. Anything you send to my desk.
Right. So I know a lot of people were disappointed. I was listening to Moon when the news kind of broke, and Moon was playing just the last part of that clip over and over and over again.
I bet he was.
He was quite upset, to say the least. So, yeah.
And I have not heard anything else from the governor as to, you know.
Now he did. What he has to do is when he vetoes something, he sends a veto message, which this was sent to the Senate President Cameron Henry. If you go to our Facebook page, I actually have it linked on there. Let me just open it up quickly. So he says, "Dear President Henry, I'm notifying you I vetoed Senate Bill 111 from the 2025 regular session. Louisiana welcomes insurance companies and appreciates those that fulfill their obligations promptly, especially during times of hardship. However, it's well known that some insurers delay claim payments as long as possible. Our bad faith penalty statute is the main tool to discourage this conduct. Senate Bill 111 would prevent insured individuals and third-party claimants from challenging an insurer's refusal to settle certain casualty claims unless 4 specific conditions are met. This change would make it easier for insurance companies to deny valid claims, introduce legal uncertainty, and leave policyholders with limited options for recourse. For these reasons, I cannot allow this bill to become law."
It just feels like we're stuck between two very powerful lobbies.
Yes.
And then the people have to suffer because of this, because we have millionaires and billionaires fighting over who's going to get more millions of dollars and more billions of dollars.
Right.
And I have to pay $100 extra on a premium when I want to just go buy cheap groceries. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think the majority of Louisianans know where the issue lies.
Well, we do know where the issue lies. But again, you see where the governor is. I mean, look at who supports the governor.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's the same old. Follow the money. Where is the money?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's the trial lawyers just.
The most famous people in Louisiana are
absolutely
trial lawyers. You see them everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So what Seabaugh said was that the current legal framework allows for a cause of action against insurers for bad faith stemming from a Supreme Court ruling that has led to what some describe as a blackmail scheme, where plaintiffs make low settlement offers with tight deadlines, only to later pursue excess judgments against insurers. His proposed legislation would have addressed that by establishing clearer guidelines for when insurers can be considered to have acted in bad faith. So, yeah, I did reach out to Senator Seabaugh, sent him a text last night to see if he could come on and give us some reaction, but did not respond. So
I'm going to text him real quick again, too. Maybe if we both.
They're probably still a little tied up today.
That's true. Today's the last day.
Today's the last day. So.
And they're going to have to pass the budget today.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't heard anything being talked about with that, have we?
I think it's going to increase the spending.
We keep saying it's not going to be like it was last time, right? It's not going to be in the, 13th hour.
Well, as our last caller who called in likes to say, meet the new boss.
Same as the old boss.
Same as the old boss.
But tomorrow it'll all be done. So now maybe tomorrow on the show you can have all of them lined up to talk about it.
Yes, we're going to have plenty to talk about for weeks, probably.
For weeks.
All right, we need to take a quick break.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
The cost of air travel is more than just the ticket price. It's also fuel, meals, lodging, parking, and time. Recalculating. The more we fly AEX, the better our chances of bringing back flights to Houston and Charlotte. Support AEX and help our community grow. Find your true cost at local.flyaex.org.
You too could have a beautiful smile in as little as 12 weeks. Exclusive to Today's Dental in Pineville. Virtual Align Clear Aligners. The fastest, most convenient, affordable way to straighten your teeth for people on the go. Plus, they're invisible. No one will know you're doing it. Experience the virtual Align difference. Call Today's Dental at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. 448-4540.
Success is about momentum. For over 20 years, Kinetics has been moving businesses forward with cutting-edge IT, cybersecurity, and marketing solutions while keeping them secure, innovative, and competitive. We power progress with next-gen business technology and marketing solutions designed to keep your business ahead of the competition. Need seamless IT, a bold new brand, a strategy built for what's next? Don't get left behind. Move forward with Kinetics. Visit kbisp.com and take the next step today.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK-BACK.
All right, responding to our last segment, Richie writes in on our Facebook page, Shirley J. Luna will call in and defend his no vote on SB 111. The voting records tell it all. Nothing but party line politics. We'll never get anywhere in the state unless we start electing folks who truly represent the constituents instead of their future career in politics.
And their own pockets.
Yeah, that too. That too.
Again, nobody's talked at all about the legislation that they very quietly passed.
Yeah.
Between ethics and campaign finance.
It's interesting that the Hayride wrote an article about that, the campaign ethics thing, and the way they described it was very different than how the Illuminator described it. So
well, because they're both on two complete,
Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I have been texting one of our local state representatives who said after the session is done, he's willing to come in and explain more about that bill, what it actually does. So look forward to that. All right, we do have a call coming in. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Look, I don't know anything about politics or, government, the state government or nothing like that. But it just seems like to me they got to just go to the insurance company and ask them why is it so expensive in Louisiana, and then fix the problem.
Now, come on, you're using logic and reason. Well, that doesn't play.
All this other stuff is just they're trying to muddy the water.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, the thing too, Elon Musk and a couple of his tech friends wrote an open letter, and they told in the letter they said that in the next 10 years AI would take every single job there is.
Yeah, there's a group they call them the PayPal brothers.
PayPal brothers, yeah.
Yeah,
Vance and
right. So if you kind of go by Twitter theories and things, they ultimately want J.D. Vance to be president and this sort of thing. So, I think the rise of AI is going to impact our society. It already is in ways we don't even realize, but it's going to impact it in every conceivable way.
Former British Prime Minister Tony Blair was saying that we should expect doctors and nurses to be majority artificial intelligence, and we should embrace it.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You got to learn how to embrace it and use it.
Yep.
The thing is, the governor and the state the politicians. AI could write us a really good insurance bill in about half a second.
That's true.
Ooh, there's an idea.
We should make our politicians artificial intelligence.
Go the way of AI.
Sometimes we ask if there's signs of intelligence among our politicians.
AI doesn't care about the money,
Right.
Just let them make policy.
Yeah. You're right about
There's
that.
been some municipalities actually looking into that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, even when you think about like the robots that Musk is supposedly going to be building, I saw someone made a video. It's an AI video of Trump and Musk after their breakup. It was like a Pink Floyd song, Wish You Were Here, and it shows both of them aging apart from each other. Musk ends up on Mars with just his robots.
Yeah.
And Trump is kind of aging, and he's on the golf course, and he has a heart attack and falls, and then he's in a hospital bed dying, and Musk comes back, and he says, "I'm sorry," he goes, and then Trump was like, "I never didn't forgive you," or something like but it was incredible. Wow. Like the production value of it, it's like you're not even going to need movie studios anymore.
And it was done in 5 minutes using AI.
Yeah, so Google's VO3, I think is what they call it.
Yeah.
Insane.
I know.
Insane.
I know.
Or when Trump posted that Gaza Riviera video with the belly dancers and beards.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, it was like 5 or 6 years ago, at least, maybe longer, we were doing Second Look, and we talked about how they were saying AI could replace news anchors.
Yeah.
And we were joking about it.
Well,
that was like 10 years ago.
But I've seen clips now that they're doing of news anchors that are AI, and you cannot tell.
I think Channel 4 is doing it in England.
Many times what we're listening to as we come in the morning, I wonder if those voices are AI, because they kind of sound a little bit like it. But I think they're real people still.
I wish we can get an AI version of me to do house chores or something.
What about the voices in my head? Okay, AI. I hear voices in my head. They talk to me. Randy Orton, anyone? No, you guys don't know that. All right. We'll be back in hour number 2, 8:40. Senator Bill Cassidy joins us. We have a lot more to talk about on the other side, so stay with us.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting. FM 104.9, AM 970, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3 HD3, Alexandria. It's 8 o'clock. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Chaos outside a hospital in northwestern India where a passenger plane bound for London crashed just after takeoff today. Randir Jaiswal is with the Indian Ministry of External Affairs.
What has happened in Ahmedabad is a very tragic accident. We have lost a lot of people.
The local police chief says there appear to be no survivors. CBS News transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
This crashed into a residential area just off the runway of the airport. So there's concerns that there are additional people in those buildings that the plane hit, in addition to the 240 plus people on board. This plane has been flying for 11 years for Air India and had been making multiple flights over the last few days, so had been in heavy use.
The U.S. is pulling, make that multiple sources tell CBS News. U.S. officials have been informed Israel is ready to launch an operation against Iran. CBS's Ed O'Keefe.
Iranian officials say they're not going to abandon what they believe is their right to enrich uranium and want the U.S. to lift sanctions put in place in 2018 when President Trump dropped a previous agreement to curb Iran's nuclear program that had been negotiated by President Obama and European countries. As for the possible Israeli operation against Iran, both Israeli officials and the White House had no official comment.
The U.S. is pulling some non-essential personnel and family members from the region. Protests against immigration raids continue to expand across this country. Officers in Spokane, Washington, using pepper balls on a crowd of demonstrators. More than 30 were arrested after Mayor Lisa Smith declared a state of emergency.
We believe in the right of peaceful protest, and the safety of our community members is always of the utmost importance.
Today, a federal judge in San Francisco will take up California Governor Gavin Newsom's protest over the president's deployment of National Guard troops and Marines to L.A. Loyola Law's Lori Levinson.
The government is taking the position that indeed this was necessary to call in the National Guard and even the Marines, protect federal officials and federal property, and that the federal court should not be second-guessing the President of the United States in this type of action.
Deaths from alcohol-related liver disease are on the rise, especially among women and young people. CBS's Christian Benavides.
Researchers say the findings in JAMA Network Open underscore the urgent need for public health interventions, especially given the increases seen in alcohol consumption following the COVID-19 pandemic.
Dow futures down 173. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance. Progressive can protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. In short, a lot of things. Bundle today at Progressive.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Jeff Palermo. Louisiana's film industry could see a revival following the passage of Senate Bill 232, which updates the state's film incentive program. Film Louisiana President Jason Wagensback says the new law removes outdated caps, including a $20 million limit on production costs and a $3 million per person payroll cap, aiming to make the state more competitive with international filming locations.
And it allows for studios to come and talk with LED and make a bigger deal. If you're going to come in and you're going to bring multiple projects over the course of multiple years, and you're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars, and maybe on an annual basis, why not come and talk to LED?
Wagensback says the reforms could attract larger productions and talent. The LSU baseball team is on its way to Omaha for the College World Series. Hundreds of fans gathered at Alec Box Stadium to wish the team luck.
We go to all the games, and we had to come send our boys off. We're going to try to make it up to Omaha. We wish them the best. We know they can do it. They have the potential, and we're ready to go for Omaha.
LRN.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
Good morning. Cloudy skies for our Thursday and a good chance of some afternoon showers to thunderstorms. 83 should do it for the afternoon high. And that chance of rain about a 70% chance. Now tonight, partly cloudy in the evening, followed by scattered thunderstorms after midnight. A 40% chance of that down to 72. And they'll carry over into Friday morning as well. Cloudy skies late in the day. 83 should do it for the afternoon high. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian. Currently 72 degrees in Cenla.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 27 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
And welcome back, everyone. Talkback on a Thursday. Al Quartermont, Trish Lilla, and Stephen Maxwell sitting in with us this morning. Glad y'all could be with us here today. 442-8255 is our phone number. At 8:40, U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy will be calling in. Certainly the last couple of days, we've been talking about the issue of carbon capture and sequestration following the meeting Monday at Philadelphia Baptist Church. And then we had a couple of representatives from SunGas on yesterday. It's interesting, I was perusing, as I always do in the morning, the Rapides Parish Journal. It's kind of my morning newspaper now. Curl up with a cup of coffee, right? No, I don't do that. Just glance at it. But anyway, the headline caught my attention: carbon capture and storage in Louisiana's landowners. And I noticed they had the Royal Martin logo on the article. So it turns out that there was an editorial sent in by Cade Young, who is the vice president of land and timber for Royal Martin, who writes, Louisiana's land and natural resources have long been the backbone of our economy. As a landowner, we at Royal Martin know firsthand how vital it is to balance economic growth with responsible land management. That's why we support carbon capture and storage, CCS, a proven, safe technology that strengthens our industry's future while keeping Louisiana at the forefront of sustainable development. Carbon capture and storage isn't just an abstract concept. It's a key part of our land development strategy. It provides opportunity to maximize the value of our land while supporting industries that fuel our economy. By allowing responsible carbon storage, we can ensure that Louisiana remains a leader in energy and industry while continuing to manage our forest lands effectively. We are confident that decades of research and real-world experience confirm that CCS can be done safely and effectively. Louisiana has the opportunity to lead in this space, but that means allowing responsible projects that benefit business, communities, and the state to move forward. Carbon capture and storage makes the timber industry more resilient, allowing us to weather market fluctuations while creating new opportunities for growth. The Louisiana timber industry thrives when landowners can fully utilize their resources, and CCS can be a critical tool in ensuring that we can do just that. We need strong backing from our leaders and community members, as evidenced by recent plant closings, international competition in the pulp and paper industry, as well as other industries that rely on wood as raw material is only getting tougher and affecting local families and communities. The carbon footprint of operations is becoming a key differentiator, and local companies need every tool available to stay competitive. If utilizing carbon sequestration is what's needed to compete, the good news is the solution is right here under our feet, and more importantly, in the parishes where we operate today. That means the jobs and economic benefits stay where they belong in Louisiana. The bottom line is this: CCS is safe, it's good for business, he writes, and it's essential for Louisiana's long-term success, economic success. At Royal Martin, we are committed to our communities, responsible development, protecting our environment, and we believe CCS can be a critical part of that future. Again, that's Cade Young, the Vice President of Land and Timber for Royal Martin.
Cade Young was a member of my Leadership Louisiana class.
Okay. Oh,
Best
wow.
class ever in 18, yeah. But you notice his key word in there, too, is responsibly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is the issue, is do people feel like it is responsible, that it can be responsibly done? And there's a lot of skepticism that over time, you can say, we're going to put this in the ground, it's going to be safe, but...
But, don't you find that there's a lot of... any industry out there has... those kinds of issues, what could happen?
Uh-huh.
And we've seen things happen with a lot of industries out there, but, you can't completely hinder the economic development of a whole area because of,
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you never know what's going to happen. I just have a gut feeling this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And I completely understand both sides. It always comes down to what we talk about in the news business is NIMBY, meaning not in my backyard.
Oh, yeah.
And so
we have that
want
real
the
estate
growth
all the time.
You just don't want the pipe going under your house, and I completely understand that. And
unless you're getting money off the pipe going under your house.
Exactly. But Allen Parish and Vernon Parish, those areas, the residents have always kind of somewhat had to fight for, their rural lifestyle. Like where I lived in Allen Parish, they were trying to build a lake out there like Toledo Bend because there's not very many people out there. Let's just flood it, and it's going to be an economic opportunity. And this is one of those things that you have to deal with, I guess.
True. I think that's what you have, are competing interests. So it's for Royal Martin, though, to come out and make that statement, that's pretty strong.
Yeah.
And obviously they're doing that, I'm sure, in support of the potential sun gas development. So
I'd be interested to talk with Capture Point in the future, see kind of what they think. And
right.
I know. Hopefully you guys will have them on shortly. Yeah.
Efforting, as they say. All right. We have some calls coming in. 442-8255, the BOM Bank talk line. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Yes, I have listened to the program.
Oops, you're cutting out on us, ma'am. Can
you hear me now?
Yes.
Now we can.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I think that is, I've listened to the pros and cons and read, and I still think capturing carbon and putting it into the ground takes the carbon away from our plants and our trees, and we need all we can get. And I just can't believe that smart people think that way. I just think it's some kind of dumb idea because I think it can be very dangerous.
I think what proponents of it would say is that it's preventing an excess of carbon getting into the atmosphere.
Yes, I think that's what they're trying to sell, but I can't go it. I've been around here for 81 years, and that's the craziest thing I've ever heard of. Have a blessed day.
Thanks, man. Thank you. No, and you make a good point. That's the basis of the argument. The issue, though, is that argument valid? Are we really seeing rising carbon in our atmosphere and the effects of that? I mean, you see scientists on both sides now. Some are saying, but I mean, if you go by what even the pro climate change people were saying 20 years ago, that was going to happen by now. It's not even close. So they've been completely wrong, really, in most cases. Even the Babylon Bee did a thing the other day where they had Al Gore down at in Antarctica blowing a hairdryer on the glacier to make it melt or whatever. So, I mean, people are very skeptical about this whole thing. And I'm just going to say this one thing. If there was not large amounts of federal money tied to doing this, would it really be done? I think that's a valid question. So,
but someone argues that federal, I'm not saying I'm on the side, but someone argued that federal money allows the local economy to have some sort of a boost for an area that really needs something.
Oh, there's no doubt that our state, as much as any, post-Katrina, has become completely reliant on federal money.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. This is not the only industry or the only thing relying on federal money right now.
I think there's a difference between interjecting it into like a business and interjecting it into the state budget. You know, where you can just abuse that money.
I mean, look how much our budget has grown as a state. And a lot of that is because of the federal dollars that we've gotten. Post-hurricanes, post-COVID, during COVID.
That's what got us in a mess. What was it, 10 years ago when JBE came in?
Right. Mm-hmm. Which, there are some that dispute that economic, the fiscal cliff was even really as big as they were making it out to be.
Yeah.
So.
Sure. Sales tax.
At least we still have
tax.
Yeah. How about that?
How about that?
Oh, did you see now they're increasing the tax on gambling in the state?
Yes, I saw that.
Almost 5%.
I saw that. Yeah. I don't gamble, but I saw that.
I also saw that apparently the racetrack down in New Orleans is considering not renewing its license.
Yep.
Yeah, they have one up in Bossier City as well. Neil Reiser, local representative, wrote that bill.
Okay. Interesting. All right, let's go to the phones again. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Yes, sir. I was at the meeting at the Philadelphia Baptist Church the other night, and I was very informed. They told us about the disaster in Mississippi just last year where one of these carbon capture sequestration places blew up. And what it does, it's heavier than air, so it comes down and suffocates everything in, a 5-mile radius. But the worst part was even car engines won't run. First responders were trying to get to it. Their engines would cut out because cars need oxygen. So that was one thing. And then there was a police juryman from Beauregard Parish, I believe, and he was telling us how they have this seaweed, and it would kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It captures a lot more of the CO2 than normal trees and bushes and plants, and it would help the barrier reefs. If they could plant this all along the barrier reefs down below Louisiana, it would help with coastal erosion, plus it would pull that carbon out of the air. And the main thing I just want to say is it's not necessary. That's what all these plants and everything are on Earth to do, is convert CO2 into oxygen. So it just doesn't make sense to me. It's all a money grab, like you said. If it wasn't for the federal dollars, they wouldn't be doing this. And they do it in poor parishes such as Vernon, Beauregard, Rapides, where they know people need jobs and money. So they do it there because they know they can steer people's empathy towards building the pipeline by just showing them a little money. And that's all I got to say.
All right. Appreciate your call. Thank you.
True. And tax incentives as well.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that was the big Hyundai plant that's coming to South Louisiana. They didn't announce that tied to that is going to be $600 million.
Yes.
The state is having to cough up.
Yeah, they didn't announce that until weeks and weeks after.
Right. So
cough up or just not collect?
I think, it was tax incentives, I believe.
I think so.
And then Meta in Richland.
Right.
Is it Richland?
Yeah, Richland Parish.
Yeah, Richland Parish.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. Another call. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hey, you know the deal about the sequestration? It scares me really bad because that Mr. LeBon talking about those wells are going to leak, and they get into our aquifers. We're going to have a huge problem. But anyway, I think there's kind of a correlate. You know, it reminds me of what went on with that Clean Harbors. I was on the group that was fighting with Clean Harbors.
Yeah.
And yeah, you look on Clean Harbors, they have facilities all over the United States. They have some in Canada, they have some in Mexico. And guess what? The only one place in North America that allowed open air burning,
right
Parish, Louisiana.
Yeah. Yep. Where we live.
Well, that kind of told me all I needed to know about Clean Harbors. In their open air burning, they insisted it was safe and everything. But LSU had these scientists coming down. They put these air collection devices around the parish. And like not too far from me, there was a man had one in his yard, and they were picking up different kinds of metals that released from. They were burning explosives and what have you, and they were metals showing up in there.
Wow.
Nickels, manganese, things that should not be in the air, you know.
Right.
I remember covering Clean Harbors a lot back in the day.
Yeah.
Finally, they're going to be forced to put a containment incinerator type deal, you know, with filters, trap all that noxious waste. But anyway, they've had an unusual number of pancreatic cancers in this area. Like, it's really disturbing how many people with pancreatic cancer. I think it's above the national average.
Wow.
Incidence.
That is concerning for sure.
This sequestration of carbon kind of reminds me of the same deal. They know we're poor, they know we need money, and so they're going to dump it on us in Louisiana.
I think a lot of people feel that way. You're certainly not alone. Hey, before I let you go, do you have any thoughts on the people that RFK Jr. named to the advisory committee on immunization practices yesterday?
Well, I don't know any of them, but Dick Cassidy's against it. Well, Biden, the whole committee that Robert Kennedy inherited were appointed by Biden. So why is he against? He has every right to get rid of all Biden's appointees and appoint his own.
True.
But Cassidy's he's just in the pocket of pharma. That's what drives him. That's all he cares about. Look on Open Secret, see how much money he gets from pharma.
That's
what drives him.
Thank you for the call this morning. We appreciate it. We are behind. Have to take a break. More calls coming up.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
The Clinics welcome Dr. Noah Miller, family medicine physician, to our team. Dr. Miller from Vadrine, Louisiana, is now accepting new patients. Call today to schedule your appointment. The Clinics offers a wide range of services, including primary care, family and chronic care, urgent and acute care with on-site lab and x-ray. Same-day appointments are available, and we accept most insurance and Medicare. Experience exceptional care at the Clinics, 1587 North Bolton. Call 445-9823 or look us up online at theclinics.us.
Craig's Cleaners is now looking for some good employees. In particular, Craig's is looking for people with cashier experience and who have a valid driver's license. It's a pretty sweet job, too. Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. with no weekends. Wow. That's right. Here's your chance for every weekend off. Wow. So if you're interested in working for Craig's Cleaners, please apply in person at Craig's main location at 1746 Elliott Street, Alexandria.
Sinla Broadcasting is local, so we promote the locals. Beneath a canopy of mighty oaks, towering cypress trees, and colorful bamboo, discover over 500 remarkable animals from all over the world. The Alexandria Zoo is the area's largest year-round family attraction. Come explore a natural world filled with hoots, howls, and roars, right here in the heart of central Louisiana. Learn more about it or volunteer at thealexandriazoo.com.
This has been a public service reminder from Cinela Broadcasting.
Did you know more women under 40 are getting breast cancer? Especially Black and Jewish women whose cancers are often more deadly. If you're a woman, talk to your doctor by age 25 about your breast cancer risk. The American College of Radiology recommends you ask your doctor if you should get a mammogram before age 40. Need other tests like an MRI with your yearly mammogram, or should be checked more than once a year. For more information, visit mammographySavesLives.org.
We're Cinela Broadcasting, local radio doing local public service.
The Rapides Children's Advocacy Center serves as a spokesperson for children in abusive situations. The RCAC trains community volunteers to serve as court-appointed special advocates through their CASA program and offer trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy to help children subjected to emotional abuse. Find out how you can help at childrensadvocacy.net.
This has been a public service reminder from Cinela Broadcasting.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BON Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BON Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
Now back to Talk Back, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL.
All right, we're back, and let's go back to the phones. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Good morning.
Hey.
You know, we're not going to know if this carbon sequestration is safe or not for years to come, because we're going to be injecting it deep into geological formations. I mean, you know, what are we going to do? I mean, you know, now apparently it's already going on to a limited extent, but and the former callers are correct. This could not. You're not creating anything here. This is not like farming or mining, or you're not taking raw products and making and it's not dollar added value. And is it going to bring you talking? And the thing you read was talking about, it'll help the timber industry. Really? Is it going to bring a paper mill back to Pineville? How about the one that just closed up in Campy? And why did they close? So, with a paper mill, you take a cheap raw product, pulp, timber, and you make a product that everybody wants. Just like mining, oil and gas, the whole 9 yards. So you don't.
So are you saying you're concerned about it's just exporting the goods?
Are we using less paper than we were? I know in my job, I swear, they want to go all electronic, and I swear we're using more paper than ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's maybe what they were alluding to in that editorial. That op-ed was, market forces are changing. A lot of our paper products, I'm sure, are starting to come from overseas instead of being domestically produced. And that's, again, kind of going back to the whole issue with tariffs and the president trying to bring back manufacturing to America. Even the lumber industry, a lot of our timber comes from Canada instead of the U.S. But, again, a lot of the forest industry has to fight against what? Environmentalists. So, while we show clearly we can do sustained harvests and regeneration of forests, I mean, they're just met at every side with regulations and all these sorts of things. So at the end of the day, it becomes cheaper and easier to produce it somewhere else. So,
well, you're correct. I mean, timber is a renewable resource. It just takes longer than other stuff. But this is nothing new.
Doesn't most of the timber that we import come from Canada, if I'm correct?
Yeah. I think, well, and some hardwoods from Brazil, but those are tropical hardwoods that you can't grow here. You know, the teak, cocoa and some of the others.
I mean, look at what the impact of that mill closing in Campty. Now they're shutting the local elementary school because they can't afford to keep it open.
Right.
You know, that tax base leaves, and in any small community is going to be hugely impacted. When I lived in northern Wisconsin, the name of the town was Rhinelander, and they had the Rhinelander Paper Company.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
When I was in Panama City, IP shut down there as well.
Yeah.
Hundreds of jobs.
Look what happened in Sydney, Nebraska with Cabela's.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, I'm not only, I have bad words. You know, when Cabela's was I think it was the number one employer.
Wow.
And the town's a ghost town now, you know, and there was no reason. They were profitable, but, you know, they had a hostile takeover.
Yeah.
So, and it was a quote unquote investment banker who was ramrodding it.
Yeah.
Rich companies like to do that, so.
Well, yeah. But, you know, broke people, you know, Henry Ford was right. For the middle class to be able to buy stuff, they got to have jobs.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, and, you know, go back to NAFTA. Ross Perot warned that there's going to be the giant sucking sound. And, you know, Nathan has told us, you go down to the border, just go across the border, and all of these American companies that have their factories there now.
Yeah.
So if that's the case and there's so many jobs, why don't we get so many Mexican citizens illegally crossing the border to work up here?
Good question. Probably because they work cheaper, I'm guessing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know either. But
or are they even coming here to work in some cases?
This is true. I mean, in California, they get free free college tuition and all that.
Yep.
You know, there's no free lunch. Anybody that tells you otherwise, just they're ignorant.
Yeah, that's true.
Or Chris Rock says they ignorant.
Unless Steven wants to take me to lunch today, then it'll be.
Where are we going?
Payback
if I'm paying, you don't want to go. All you're getting is a wedge salad.
Yeah, but not at Logan's.
Not at
Can of green beans. All right, thank you for the call. We appreciate you, and we need to take a break. More coming up.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A Boeing 787 Dreamliner jet operated by Air India that was bound for London crashed shortly after taking off in northwestern India in what stands to be the worst accident involving Boeing's most advanced wide-body airliner. The jet was carrying 242 passengers and crew. Video footage shared on social media showed a giant plume of smoke engulfing the crash site with no reports of survivors. Shares of Boeing were moving lower in pre-market trading this morning. Investors are digging into another inflation report today. This time it's the Producer Price Index. When stripping out volatile food and energy costs, prices rose less than expected, both month over month in May and year over year. And some employees of Whole Foods markets will notice some changes as Amazon takes more control over the chain. Under a reorganization, Whole Foods corporate employees are joining Amazon's programs for pay, benefits, and other functions. Futures point to a lower open. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
All of us have that one friend who can just light up the room with a smile. And sadly, how many of us are just a little bit envious of that friend? Well, here's the good news. The folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville can deliver that beautiful beaming smile. Over the years, hundreds of hopeful patients have visited and been completely satisfied. They've made getting dental implants an amazingly simple, low-anxiety procedure, one that's affordable for anyone's budget. The staff at Today's Dental go out of their way to make you feel comfortable with calming in-office IV sedation that's administered by a highly skilled, certified nurse anesthetist. And their multiple finance options make the entire procedure truly affordable. Isn't it your turn to light up that room? Give Today's Dental a call at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Gauthier. That's 448-4540.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for youth.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs
and dangerous things like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping.
Because when you talk, they hear you.
Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. Good morning. Cloudy skies for our Thursday and a good chance of some afternoon showers to thunderstorms. 83 should do it for the afternoon high. And that chance of rain about a 70% chance. Now tonight, partly cloudy in the evening, followed by scattered thunderstorms after midnight. A 40% chance of that down to 72. And they'll carry over into Friday morning as well. Cloudy skies late in the day. 83 should do it for the afternoon high. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian. 74 degrees in Cenla.
Talk back. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
All right, we're back having more fun than human beings should be allowed, as Rush used to say. 442-8255, BOM Bank Studio Talk Line. APD investigating another shooting. Happened last night, 100 block of Robert Street, around 8:30. One person sent to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Fortunately on that. I don't know if you guys saw that they arrested 7 people in connection to that shooting that happened in Cheneyville over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
7 people.
Wow.
5 were injured. 7 people arrested, 5 people were injured. They found over 100 bullet shell casings at the scene.
That's crazy. In Cheneyville.
Yes, yeah. You know, when you look at the names, the faces, more importantly, the ages, they're all in that, early 20s. Well, there was
I was
one.
going to say, are they 18?
19, 17, 25, 24, 24. There's one person that's 51.
Oh.
That was arrested for 6 counts of attempted secondary murder.
Wow.
All of them are facing 6 counts, it looks like. So, combined, the suspects are being held on $3 million bond.
Well,
each except for an unnamed minor and one other were reportedly booked into DC-1. So, man, crazy. That is just crazy. So, anyway, we're expecting a call from Bill Cassidy coming up in about 5 minutes. Should have plenty to talk about. Yesterday,
a little bit on the national level, right?
Yeah, there's a few things going on, to say the least. Now, I know this weekend, what's the name of it? The something Kings protest?
No Kings protest.
But what it's taking away from, and I hate this, is the fact that it's the Army's 250th birthday. And so the president has lined up a big celebration that they're going to be doing throughout the day in Washington, D.C.
A huge parade.
Huge parade. And it also happens to be his birthday. So some people feel like he's doing it just for that. But they're going to have Army birthday wreath laying at Arlington National Cemetery. They'll have the birthday festival on the National Mall. And then a parade coming up from 6:30 to 8, followed by fireworks. So a great day to just celebrate America and our great Army. So happy birthday to the U.S. Army.
I know, right? But I hate how it takes away from a lot of that. But
politics.
Speaking of, I saw Stephen's story yesterday about the CVS text messages. Did you get the text messages out? I finally went back and noticed I got emails from CVS.
I use Ray's Pharmacy.
I use Ray's Pharmacy too.
I go
local too. I love Ray's Pharmacy. I can't say that enough. Although, anyway, but I got the email too, the big SOS email, Save Our Stores, that you could just click on to tell all of your elected officials. And
CVS Pharmacy sent these mass texts out across the state saying, last-minute legislation in Louisiana threatens to close your pharmacy. Your medication costs may go up, and your pharmacists may lose their jobs. So there's a House bill that passed overwhelmingly, 80-plus votes, that would prevent, what's the word I'm looking for? Pharmaceutical. I
have to look that word up.
Pharmaceutical something from owning a pharmacy, which is what CVS does.
Right.
So they have 117 stores in the state. It would, they say, effectively close them all, leaving 2,700 people without a job. So they're against it. The House says it's going to, or the people who voted for it says it's going to help
lower
local pharmacy, family-owned pharmacies. And so it's going to head to the Senate, and Landry says he supports it. So that would be a very interesting development.
That will be a very interesting development.
All right. Let's take one quick call before we take a break. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. No offense to Trish's friend at Royal Martin, but they're looking for revenue streams, and that their pulp products would be sold off to the biodiesel, which is good. But then all the land they have, they store that stuff under the land. They don't live there, and I hope you can ask Kennedy, because I'm already at work. I should be off the phone. If there's any relief we can get from the federal government, because this is all happening because the federal government believed the climate alarmists and allowed for the whole carbon capture science to begin. If Trump could get a hold of this and through a executive order or something, relieve us from those regulations, then Merck's wouldn't have any reason to gloat over their carbon capture and their carbon neutral tool. Anyways, thanks for letting me speak my piece. Y'all have a great day.
Do you think the president would be against it? Another company that would export?
I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we need to take a break. Senator Cassidy will join us next.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Word's out. Chef John is at it again this Father's Day. Dad eats free at Quibido's Cajun Cafe in Pineville. We're celebrating Dad with a special menu just for him and the family. Choose from stuffed catfish, tender prime sliced beef, juicy stuffed pork loin, or blackened chicken pasta. It's dine-in only from 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. and tables will fill fast, so plan to come early. Dad dines free when he's joined by his family. So whether you call him Dad, Papa, or Papi, bring him to Quibido's Cajun Cafe in Pineville.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090.
Tell me what's going on. What's going on in Cenla?
Check this out.
Get your stretch on at the Alexandria Museum of Art with Yoga in the gallery. Southern Air Heating and Cooling sponsors this free weekly event that runs every Tuesday evening from 5:45 till 7.
And laugh out loud as the City Park Players present the heartwarming comedy Making God Laugh on Hearn Stage at Chris Theater downtown, running June 12th through 22nd. Get tickets and details at cpptheater.com.
Come to the first ever One Love Paint Party Jam on Friday evening, June 20th at the For the Love of Alexandria Boutique on Dorchester. Painting, live DJ, BYOB. Get the details at For the Love of Alexandria on Facebook.
And whatever you do, don't miss our Central Louisiana Independence Day celebrations. Alexandria, Pineville, and other local communities will be lighting up the skies in the name of freedom. Come party with us.
Cenla Broadcasting.
Welcome home.
Freedom from drug addiction happens in NA meetings. It is possible to stop using drugs, and they can help. Call Narcotics Anonymous at 1-585-DON'T-USE or visit their website at larna.org for more information.
It's Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We are here with you on Talkback on your Thursday. Al Quartermont, Trish Lala, Stephen Maxwell, and I believe Senator Cassidy's on the line with us. Senator, are you there?
I am on the line with you guys and gals.
Okay.
Good morning.
I know you kind of do the car wash thing where you do multiple interviews in the morning, so thanks for taking time with us. We appreciate it.
I love being with Central Louisiana. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We've added Stephen Maxwell into the mix today, too, so you'll hear his voice. So you'll be glad to know he's trimmed his beard a little bit.
Yeah, you made fun of my beard last time I saw you.
Yeah, like a Civil War reenactor.
Love it. That's awesome. Well, Senator, obviously is a huge day coming up Saturday. It's the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army. We've got Fort Polk here now, which I wanted to ask you about that. The rename, or the president wanting to switch back the name Fort Johnson to Fort Polk. Your thoughts on that, and your thoughts on the big military celebration this weekend?
Well, the 250th anniversary of the Army is something to celebrate. It is, what can you say? My dad was in the Army Air Force. The story he told me, I guess it's true, he was on the island, because people don't realize the Air Force used to be part of the Army. And then after World War II, they split them apart. Mm-hmm. My dad said he was stationed at the island where the Enola Gay took off to drop the atomic bomb on Japan. Wow. So anyway, all of us have a story of somebody in the Army who has some connection with our nation's history. So 250 years is something to celebrate. But and you asked about something else. The
name change.
Oh, the name change. I always had to say Fort Johnson, Fort Polk, because nobody knew what Fort Johnson was. Right. And so I think if nothing else, it is a point of clarity at which we are now as to what fort we're speaking of. And I just want to give a shout out to everybody stationed at Fort Polk, and for who really owes us right now is the postmaster, who no longer has to translate Fort Polk to Fort Johnson, just for Fort Johnson to Fort Polk.
I guess you think it'd be worth the cash to change all the signs, all the branding and everything again?
Well, again, hopefully they got them somewhere stored, since I don't think they ever throw anything away, and just pull it right back out.
Good point.
That's a good point. Are you worried at all that, I know there's a planned protests around the country for Saturday as well. Obviously, we know what's going on in Los Angeles and other points around the country now. Any concerns about safety issues in D.C. for people that might want to come and enjoy that celebration?
Well, first, it is our constitutional First Amendment right for people to express themselves and protest if they wish, as long as it's peaceful. If it's not peaceful, get ready to be arrested. So, but first, let's defend people's First Amendment right to express themselves. As regards D.C., my gosh, D.C. is one place where, under this administration, if you break the law, you're going to be picked up. And particularly if it's a celebration of the Army, I'm just thinking, pick a better place to protest.
For sure. We're talking with Bill Cassidy, U.S. Senator. Something I know that you're very passionate about right now is the HELP Committee and legislation to try to fix the broken higher education system, and how this plays into the big, beautiful bill. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I am chairman of the Health, Education, Labor, and Pension Committee, and we have the task of fixing everything Biden screwed up over the last 4 years. And when it comes to student loans, they couldn't have screwed it up more if you'd said, go screw it up. They passed something, a student loan forgiveness package, which the Supreme Court struck down as unconstitutional, and then they just repackaged it and resubmitted it, saying, okay, sue me. It was a deliberate attempt to circumvent the Supreme Court of the United States. It was unconstitutional. They knew it. They did it anyway. So we've got to fix that mess. And by the way, along the way, for folks who willingly took on debt, and the Biden administration was going to try and transfer that to people who never went to college or paid back their debt, we're going to fix that too. And along the way, we saved $300 billion for the taxpayer, and that will help pass the big, beautiful bill.
I want to go back to the protest real quick. Hate to popcorn back and forth. Do you think it's necessary to have the Marines and National Guard in Los Angeles?
I don't know the situation on the ground. I do know that the Marines have been mobilized in the past, 1968, when there were some riots, because I knew a Marine who was mobilized. And you can say that the protests are now pretty confined, and you could argue the reason they're pretty confined is the president brought out the National Guard. And so, wait, you want to wait it to get out of control? I'm a doctor. I say that if I always encourage people to go get checked. If you get checked when you have a little bit of a bump, that's a lot better off than if you get checked when that little bump has become a raging cancer. So I don't know the situation on the ground. Got to trust the president on this one. By the way, it's easier to nip something in the bud than to catch up with it when it's out.
As Barney Fife famously said, nip it in the bud, right? Back to the big, beautiful bill. We're hearing a lot of people talk about drastic cuts for Medicaid and things like that. But from everything I'm reading, the cuts are not for people that need Medicaid. It's to try to root out the people that are on it that shouldn't be.
Well, so first, cuts. That is a wrong name being proposed by people who oppose the bill. Kind of freeze in place the amount the federal taxpayer is paying towards states, which is already far more than the law requires the federal government to pay. And of those folks who might lose coverage, about 1.4 million of them are here illegally. And so someone here illegally will lose their coverage, but that they're not a U.S. citizen. There's another group of folks, now stay with me on this, who are able-bodied, they don't have disability, no dependents, who are not working, going to school, or volunteering at least 20 hours a week. So someone who's staying at home, 18 to 64, not doing anything to engage in society, including volunteering, and they're currently getting free health care. Now, what the CBO says, Congressional Budget Office, is that some of these people will go back to work just to get their benefit. So I know as a doctor, someone who's working, who's able-bodied, is better off than someone who's able-bodied not working. I think this has the consequence of people returning to engagement in life, and that's better for their health.
We've heard a lot of back and forth with the one big beautiful bill about, is it going to increase the deficit? Is it going to increase spending? What are you hearing? How important is that compared to everything else in the bill to cut spending?
We got to get spending. We got to get our national debt down. And so the president's analysis and his team's analysis is that, one, we're not including the money that the CBO says is going to be raised from tariffs, which is $2.8 trillion. We're not including that, but that will be coming in to our country's fisc. We're not including the economic growth, which, if this works as it's supposed to work, will trigger the same sort of economic growth that happened after the first TCJA, in which there were better jobs, paying more money, and those jobs are disproportionately in people in the lower parts of the income scale. That's the kind of growth that you want to have. And lastly, we're making some of the largest decreases in federal spending that have ever been done, $1.4 trillion, and you put it together and we think that it's paid for.
All right, Senator, I know we're out of time. We appreciate your time, and I have a feeling you're dressed in a shade of gray this morning. Is that true?
I am wearing seersucker, and everybody in my office is, except one Yankee from Missouri. You know
Lord.
Who's going to lose his job if he doesn't get a seersucker by this time next year.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time again. Thank you, Senator Bill Cassidy, for joining us here on Talkback.
Thanks, sir.
Hey, Joe.
All right. We're going to take a break and come back.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics, with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
So, June has finally arrived, and you don't have to have a thermometer to tell it's hot outside. Keep your home comfortable all year long with Southern Air. Now through the end of June, get a comprehensive AC tune-up for only $69 per system. Book your appointment by the 30th to lock in this special offer. Don't wait until your cooling system fails on the hottest day of the year. Act now, let us bear it. Visit southernairnow.com or call 318-777-5555.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind.
As an adult, kids want to know you're listening to them, but they also want to listen to you. When it comes to alcohol, they want to know your expectations and how and why to avoid underage drinking. Talking early and often about it in everyday conversations reinforces your message and keeps lines of communication open. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
I'll be by your side.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
80 million listeners depend on AM radio to always be on, delivering news, sports, talk, traffic, and weather reports you can trust. AM radio also delivers vital emergency information when you need it most. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to pass the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act to keep AM radio in cars.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Hey, Joe, I thought you were retired.
Living on a fixed income is tough. So here I am, an essential worker.
I know. I mean, food prices are going up every day. Thank goodness for benefitscheckup.org.
Benefits what?
benefitscheckup.org. It's a free website where people over 60 can find help to pay for food, medicine, even utilities. I got $1,200 a year in benefits. Maybe it can help you.
Teachers are diverse, skilled leaders, innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Teaching shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org, supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part of the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK-BACK.
All right, we're back on Talkback. Last segment of the morning. Al Quartermont, Trish Lilla, Stephen Maxwell. These last 2 days have gone really quickly.
They have gone very quickly. I know. I'm like, man, I'm about to sign off.
What's the factor in that?
I don't know. Maybe having 3 people.
I agree.
On the show.
I love it.
It's been dynamic.
Y'all are so funny.
Yeah. So again, for those of you who didn't hear last week when we were wishing our colleague Sandra McQueen the best as she cycles off the show, Trish is cycling off today.
Cycling off, I like that.
That's the term I came up with. So starting Monday.
Come and gone. Yeah,
that's right.
Back and forth.
Starting Monday, Talkback will be me and Stephen.
That's right.
Nathan will be here on Tuesdays with Stephen. I'm still going to have off on Tuesdays, but it'll be me and Stephen on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
So is it the Al and Stephen show or the Stephen and Al show?
It's the Talkback show.
Isn't that diplomatic of him?
That is so diplomatic.
It's the new Talkback.
Must be nice to have Tuesdays off, huh?
I know.
And the reason I do that is because of my school schedule. So yeah, in the summer it's not as pronounced, but once the school year starts, my Mondays are my longest day. So it just gives me a chance to kind of recuperate a little bit.
It might not be that way forever, right?
No, it might not be that way forever.
Yeah, never know.
Right. But
I said, I'm right down the street.
We hope to have Trish and Sandra on from time to time.
Well, you need to fill in every once in a while if you happen to go,
And Stephen might take a vacation every now and then.
Vacation?
I don't do vacation.
Do they give you vacation?
Work.
Did they give you any vacation time?
I'm not allowed to speak on my employment plans.
See, again, very, very.
I should run for office.
You should run for office, definitely.
Chad, how many vacation days did you give that guy?
Right.
It's not standard to get 2 months.
Yeah.
Only for Chad.
That's
Just
right.
kidding, Chad. Just kidding.
Al said that.
So 2 months. There are some people that get that much vacation time.
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
As you build up over time.
Vacation is good for you.
It is.
It is.
It is. See, I'm more like Europe. I do a 4-day work week.
I honestly think we'd be more productive as a society.
Yeah.
A 4-day work week.
I'm more productive when I squeeze things in and I know that,
I would do 4 12s in a heartbeat.
I would love 4-day work week or like people work 4 hours a day so they can sit around and I'll just work harder than that.
That's right.
I'm just kidding. I would
And then
probably
you
do
add
4 hours a day.
Year-round school for your kids, and then you're set.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to go to a year-round school. That was interesting.
Did you really?
How did you go to a year-round
Seattle
school?
In Seattle, of course.
Yeah.
Really?
I forgot you lived there for a time.
I didn't know you lived in Seattle.
I was in Portland and Seattle till I was 7.
Wow.
Then I moved here.
Very progressive.
It was. Polar opposites on the political spectrum.
Then you went to Fairview.
I thought I had to wear a cowboy hat when I moved down here.
Well, look, you made some of your best friends.
And boots.
In Fairview.
That's true. Yeah.
In
I'd
fact,
say I'm from Louisiana because I barely remember the Northwest.
one of Steven's best friends growing up is like a TikTok sensation in the country
Really?
music world.
2 of them. They make a living off TikTok.
I think I've seen them.
Yeah. His name's Dylan Weldon,
Mm-hmm.
and he just does country music history. And
isn't it crazy the world these where you can make a really, really good living off
And not only that, it's
stuff
let him
on
meet all these legendary country stars.
He interviewed Travis Tritt, Randy Travis. I mean, I came from a school where there was 100 people in the high school.
Right.
The largest class ever was 35, which was mine.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 people from my school, which are my best friends. They just make a living off TikTok. The other one does like sports stuff.
Yeah.
He made it on ESPN a couple times.
Man.
And I was just on local TV. I wasn't
I don't know
cool
which
as
I would
them,
pick
so.
between sports and music. I don't know.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be country music for sure, but
it was both their
between
niches.
sports and
You know what I
music.
mean?
So the 3 of them kind of had they did their own video production, like little short films that they produced while they were in high school.
Did you?
Oh, we did. They were fun.
Yeah.
He took them off the internet because he didn't want to be slandered.
Oh, man.
I know.
Were they not so politically correct back
Probably not.
then? Probably not. What year were you in high school anyways?
Graduated 2011.
Oh my gosh.
The fighter one was fine though, wasn't it?
That was good.
Yeah. I'm gonna put that one back on.
I gotta find that one.
I gotta do it for the world.
For the world. It was a Rocky spinoff.
It was. It was so good.
That's what I used the school's news camera for.
That's true.
Yeah.
You did.
Didn't actually do anything.
Back in my high school day, the only thing that was recorded was like the talent show. There's still a few videos of that, but that was the big video recorders.
Do we have an awkward Trish talent show video?
No.
Couldn't be more worse than my Dancing with the Stars here in Central Louisiana.
You were amazing in Dancing with the Stars.
Is there video of that anywhere?
There is video of
Somewhere.
that somewhere.
We've got video
lots
of
of
Steven
pictures.
on our Wildcats Media YouTube from his younger days.
Fun times. Can't believe it's been like 15 years.
And Mark Klein looking like he was 12.
Yeah, he always looked like he was 12.
If you looked at his freshman year, the videos of him to his senior year, it was incredible.
I thought he was in junior high. I'm not making fun of anybody, but I'll tell him to his face, I guess.
Yeah, my first day of class, students introduced themselves. He said, "My name is Mark Klein. I'm from Central, and I'm here to play football." And all the football players looked at him like, "What?"
Water boy.
Exactly. All right, everyone. It's been fun today. It'll be me, Nathan, and Steven tomorrow.
Listening
See you
to
then.
Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting.
FM 104.9, AM 970, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3 HD3, Alexandria. It's 9 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour.